Do you recognize this theme? No? Ever since my father introduced this to me when I was a kid around 12 years ago, I've read and loved every single comic created by the Belgian cartoonist who wrote under the pen name Hergé. The series was one of the most popular European comics of the 20th century. Despite being so famous, not many people know about it. If you guessed Tintin, you're right. The Adventures of Tintin is a world favorite. The character was created in 1929 and introduced in a weekly youth supplement to the Belgian newspaper. We follow the adventurous journey of the smart, bold, and competent reporter Tintin, his faithful dog Snowy, and his close friends, the cynical but brash Captain Haddock, the extremely intelligent but humorously hearing-impaired Professor Calculus, and let's just say the clumsy and incompetent detective brothers Thompson and Thompson. Every story is infinitely rereadable and is packed with action, science fiction, mystery, suspense, and the perfect amount of slapstick humor. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the 2011 Tintin movie, The Adventures of Tintin, The Secret of the Unicorn. Now, this isn't Tintin's first attempt at the screens. There were a few unpopular releases and, in my opinion, a pretty well done TV series which I enjoyed immensely, closely matching the clean yet expressive art style of Hergé's original design, basing itself straight off the comics. In 1948, Hergé proposed to collaborate with Walt Disney on an animated Tintin series, but the collaboration he'd hoped for never ended up happening. Hergé happened to be a big fan of Steven Spielberg. In the early stages of the movie, Hergé thought Spielberg would be the best for directing Tintin, and he was right. After many complications and lots of hard work and effort from many creative teams, in 2011, Tintin had his first foray on the big screen in The Adventures of Tintin, The Secret of the Unicorn. A runaway success, not only in terms of box office numbers, but also well-reception amongst both critics and audiences. Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson worked together on this film. Peter Jackson with his expertise and stunning visual effects, and Steven Spielberg with his action-adventure experience after Indiana Jones. The movie's score was made by John Williams, and man, what a fantastic soundtrack it is. The movie was a mix between two different comics, The Secret of the Unicorn and The Crab with the Golden Claws, and frankly, they pulled off the combination brilliantly. Everything fits perfectly, almost as if that was the original story. So, let's start off by talking a tad bit about the production. The stars of the movie are Jamie Bell playing Tintin, Andy Serkis as Captain Haddock, Daniel Craig as Sakharine, and then Simon Pegg and Nick Frost as detectives Thompson and Thompson. Since the story is a mix of two comics and the cast resemble their characters so well, their performances shine. The actor's performance is captured using motion capture technology. Some of the behind the scenes are fascinating to look at and see how everything was shot. The final render was brought to life with ray tracing, bringing every light, reflection, and shadow to life. So that brings us to the stunning visuals of this film.
How do you know? It's the prize of his collection.
This movie has film noir written all over it. Everything from the inky dark sequences to the harsh lighting and the general color space of the film. There's no romance here, this is purely an action-adventure film. Everything is done so beautifully. The textures are wonderful, even particulate matter with fine attention to detail, like the dust in the flashlight. The water on the ship window, sand dunes having sand swept forward, Haddock having haze stuck to his woolen shirt, and other background details like lights turning on in the background as Barnaby is shot, and the swaying lights in the crane cabin as Haddock and Sakharine go head to head in the final fight sequence of the film. Also some other funny stuff that happens. Watch what happens to the guy that helps the lady up. Here's a look at some of my favorite frames from the film. The colors in various scenes are so beautiful and lifelike, making the movie all the more better. Even the sound design is wonderful, most notable when providing scale to objects, making them seem larger than life. Speaking of creativity, since this isn't live action, this gave the movie makers a chance to push the camera in places a real camera can't go. Like in this sequence, for instance. The camera flows effortlessly from one car undercarriage to another as Tintin struggles not to get run over.
Steady on.
Heck, even the transitions are a mastery of the art, seamlessly bringing us from one part of the story to the next, and from one location in the world to another. Here's a few of my favorites.
Haddocks, don't flee. Wait, Captain. I remember everything now. To save his to Bagar.
Only a true haddock will discover the secret of the unicorn.
You heard him. Now that we're done with visuals, let's move on to the story. While shopping at an outdoor market, the young reporter Tintin, accompanied by his faithful dog Snowy, buy a model of an old ship called the Unicorn. A man named Barnaby and another man named Sakharin try to buy the model ship, but Tintin refuses.
It's not for sale.
Tintin discovers that this ship contains a clue about a hidden treasure sunken to the bottom of the sea. With all the mysterious happenings, Tintin is kidnapped and given over to the custody of drunken Captain
Sneak in
Haddock.
behind me and catch me with my trousers down, huh?
Captain Haddock, Tintin, and Snowy make it off the ship and embark on an adventure to locate the hidden treasure. Something I want to touch on is the brief but subtle way of introducing Tintin to unfamiliar audiences and showing longtime fans their acknowledgement of the entire series, with his numerous journeys and amazing accomplishments peppered all over his room wall. The story is a seamless linkage between two books, The Crab with the Golden Claws without the drug bust, and The Secret of the Unicorn with a little touch of Red Rackham's treasure near the ending, where they head back to Marlinspike to locate the treasure. There are quite a few changes made to the story. The biggest, though, is the replacement of the comic villains, the Bird Brothers. Instead, in this movie, Sakharin is the villain, which in my opinion is the perfect choice. Obviously, combining the two books 100% wouldn't have worked out at all. However they managed to cut the two stories together, I don't know, but they did a wonderful job at it. Another thing that makes the movie clean and distraction-free is the lack of modern technology. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love modern technology, but sometimes it's so forcefully incorporated into a film, or it just gets distracting and it's not very well done. With the movie being set in 1940s England, it's got a beautiful aesthetic that holds its own ground. What I love about Tintin is that he's obsessed with his job as a reporter. His ever-flowing sense of needing to know more is what drives the film forward. Only when it seems like Tintin has been stumped does the movie dare to take a bit of a break.
We failed.
His ever-brave nature finds himself thrown into the hands of death multiple times, with his sheer luck and wit saving him. There seems to be nothing more that he loves than the thrill of the unknown. Even though Tintin comes off as all-knowing, there's a special charm to Captain Haddock that just picks everything back up.
Hit a wall, you push through it.
The lovable comedic Interpol duo Thompson and Thompson aren't present with our main heroes, but they're actively working the case, albeit at the home stretch, chasing that bag-snatching, wallet-lifting, pocket-pilfering sneak thief. I mean the pickpocket. After finally chasing the pickpocket down and managing to find Tintin's wallet, they head off to Bagar in search of Tintin, obviously bumping into them the wrong way.
Who are you working for?
In Bagar, we see a cameo of the Milanese nightingale Bianca Castafiore, along with Omar Ben Salad, and of course, Sakharin's brilliant master plan to steal the last scroll. This leads us to every action and adventure movie's second most anticipated moment, the chase sequence. The chase is done brilliantly. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie. There's this non-stop sense of tension as both teams fight for the scrolls. Something I noticed later on is that the sequence has no cuts at all. Everything is a seamless, flowing shot. According to Matt Eichen, the VFX supervisor at Weta Digital, he said that it was one of the most complex shots that they had ever done at Weta Digital, and the shot was prevised over a 5-year period. After some amazingly inspiring words from Captain Haddock and Tintin getting back on track, our heroes find themselves back at home, once again, for the final showdown. The fight between Haddock and Sakharin is a unique one indeed, with them clashing at each other with the dockside cranes, with each one hoping to deliver the final blow. Haddock is knocked out of his crane, forcing them to go hand to hand. The wobbly Captain Haddock seems like he's going to be defeated by the calm and confident Mr. Sakharin. The swordfighting sequence is a unique one indeed. It sort of brings to a close the unfinished fight Sir Francis Haddock and Red Rackham had. Just when it seems like it's game over, with a sudden plot twist, the scrolls are now in good hands. As Tintin and Captain Haddock align the 3 scrolls in the light of the setting sun, they see that the markings are actually coordinates, and they head forth to searching for the treasure. Now that they've figured out the coordinates, a small drive away, they find themselves at Marlinspike Estate.
Those coordinates lead here.
Confused and let down with one final attempt and Haddock's sea-sailing expertise, they find the treasure. Actually, only a part of it. They find out that this is only a part of it and that there's a whole bunch more just sitting on the ocean floor. With their thirst for adventure being unquenchable, we find ourselves with the perfect bookend to the movie with the tease that there'll be more to come. And that's about it. Here's my take on one of the most underrated and one of my most favorite movies of all time. I hope you enjoyed this video essay. Thank you so much for watching. I'm still new to this, so if you've got any critique or feedback that you'd like to give me, be sure to leave a comment down below. Also, leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any more awesome uploads. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.